Hello, in today's video I'm going to show you how to do the graphics on your TI-84 calculator for simple linear regression, which is a previous video that I did. So you want to refer back to that video. I had X and Y values we put in our calculators. Remember, you would press Stat Enter to get into those L columns, I call them. And the X values in L1 are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And the Y values in L2 are 16, 23, 38, 50, and 72. So if you need to get back up to speed and go ahead and put those numbers in. Remember also how we compute the regression equation. That would be when you would press your Stat button, come over to Calc, and then you see number 4 on the menu there is your linear regression, X plus B. Choose that. And because we have the default columns we're using, just go ahead and press Enter. And there you see the equation we came up with last time, which is going to be copied down here. Let me put that down for a moment. That is going to be y hat, that's what we call the predicted value, equals 1.39 is our slope, times the x, minus 1.9 is our y-intercept. So that's telling us that if I had a scatter plot, x and y, that the y-intercept is someplace down below 0, but it's a positive sloping line. It's going to look something like that once I actually graph the line. But we're going to do that on our calculators now. So first I want to show you how to get the scatter plot itself, the actual plot of the data. And so with the data loaded, you just want to press your second function, and then the y equals above that. That takes you to the stat plot menu. Press Enter. You see how the first stat plot is turned on, and the first plot is the kind we want. The very first plot you see there listed, that is a scatter plot. X list is L1, Y list is L2, and I chose the bold mark there. We then use the zoom button. Middle of this top row is the zoom button. And then I go down to number 9. Number 9 is called zoom stat. We always use zoom stat when we want to, not zoom fit, zoom stat right there. Enter. And there you see the scatter diagram, and oh wow, you see the regression line on there. I was a little ahead of myself there. Let me go ahead and get rid of the regression line and show you how to put it back in, okay? Okay, so if you have just put your data in and ran those commands we did together a minute ago, that would be your scatter diagram. Although you notice there are no numbers there, so you want to press the trace button. Trace button over here to the right of zoom turns on the numbers, and so you see the blinking cursor sitting there on the first point. I can go from point to point using my left arrow and right arrow. I can use the right arrow to go to one side, to the right, and my left arrow to come back again if I choose any of those points. That's how I can know the coordinates of them. You can read them off from the bottom of your screen here. Now, to get that regression line on the scatter plot like you want it, first thing is to press the y equals button, just the y equals button by itself. Then we have that special key sequence we did last time. So let me remind you what that key sequence is. We have to start with the y equals button where we are right now. We want to press the vars. Vars is right below your green arrows right there. Okay. We will then want to press 5 for statistics. Once we do that, we will have an XY at the top of our menu. We want to go to the right and highlight the EQ for equations. That will leave us choice number 1 is REGEQ, regression equation. We want to choose that. That will cut and paste on our screen here, the regression equation. Okay. So let me just walk that through. You can see it on the screen here. So the y equals button puts us right there. I'm then going to do the vars. Then we do 5 for statistics. You actually just key the 5 in instead of going down and press enter. Then we see the XY. We want to come to the right. Highlight the EQ. Oops, to the right. There we go. Highlight the EQ. And there you see number 1's regression equation. Press enter to choose that. And now we have cut and pasted our equation where it needs to be. And so now I can actually just press my zoom button again. And then number 9 for zoom stat. And there you go. There is the regression equation line on the scatter plot. Okay? So now, I want to find the predicted value of y at a given level of x. So I say, let's say that if x is equal to 35, I want to find y hat, the expected value according to the equation I have here. Now, algebraically, that would be, I would actually physically plug in 35 into that equation. But there's a faster way. If I can press second function, and then that trace button we had a moment ago, okay? Second trace is actually doing the F4 calc button if you take a look at your screen there. So here we go. I would do second function, followed by this button right here. Brings up a calculate menu, and notice how number 1 is value. So when I choose number 1 value, if I press enter, it's now requesting an x value. So let's put in the 35 that I said a moment ago. 35, x equals 35, and then press enter. And suddenly it takes you, x marks the spot right there. And so when x is equal to 35, my y hat, according to the bottom of my screen here, is 46.75. So there you see the blinking place on the line where the cursor is. And you can also see the value at the bottom of the screen there, the 46.75. So that's the answer. That is the predicted value of y at x equal 35 based on these 5 data. Okay? Thank you very much. We will see you next time. Take care. Oh, and by the way, please subscribe to the YouTube website. I would appreciate that.